Ngā mihi mahana I homa. Welcome again to this Gospel reflection, which comes from Luke chapter 7 today. God Squad has always taken the Gospel stories about Jesus seriously, with Smithy way back in the early 70s running weekly studies attended by hundreds of people. So we want to keep that tradition going by making these offerings available to you each week. We're now in the first few weeks of a new church year, in the season of Advent, journeying towards Christmas and the birth of Christ. If you're interested in some daily reflections on the Advent journey, there's a link below to some of Steve Barrow's posts. Check them out if you're interested. Back in 1984, a group of star musicians led by Bob Geldof put out a song, "Feed the World. Do they know it's Christmas time?" A theme that fits right with the main character of our text today, who is also featured in all the lectionary readings of the last week. Check them out. Matthew 21 has got some interesting reflections on John's life. But today it's Luke 7 verses 18 to 23, when John the Baptist sends messengers to check Jesus out. At the moment, being Advent, the readings from the lectionary are more thematic rather than lineal, following a particular story. And the role of John the Baptist has been to the fore over the last week. Today he features from his prison cell. John, that wild-man prophet who tells us in Luke chapter 3 to share our food with those who have none and our clothes with those who have none. Feed the world, he says, by giving away your spare stuff. This John sends his disciples to find out himself whether the stories he is hearing, the reports he is hearing in his prison cell, are true on the street about his cousin Jesus. When John's disciples meet up with Jesus, they see his program of social action in full swing. Unlike many modern health systems, Jesus is actually healing people, making their lives better. John's disciples were intrigued, and they wanted to know on John's behalf if Jesus was the Messiah that they should be looking for. Jesus replied, "Tell John what you have seen and heard. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. And blessed is he or they who are not offended because of me." Now, Jesus could not give them a direct, straight answer to their question, because he would have been arrested straight away, either as a blasphemer or as a direct threat to Herod the king. He needed more time to display his actions and to let people see the full picture of his life. But what Jesus was doing that day, and the words, the picture that he described to send back with John's disciples, was a clear nod to the expectations that the people of the day had for what a Messiah would be like. There's a list on a scroll that's been found at Qumran from this period, detailing these exact type of things. Blessed are those who are not offended because of me. Who could get offended that the poor are made well, the blind see, the deaf hear, etc.? Probably not the poor, but maybe the rich, maybe us who stand to lose some of our incomes from the sick and dysfunctional systems that keep the poor oppressed and the rich richer. This Advent season, may we be found out living out the dream of John, the dream of Jesus, so that the hungry are fed, the naked are clothed, not just from our generosity, but by our advocacy for the system to be changed, by our voting and choosing for people to run our society who actually can bring this kingdom to earth. Feed the world in the Spirit of Christ. Rangamari e kia koutou katoa.